On today's episode, we have our friend and trainer, Ryan Becknell. We talk all things health and fitness related to surfing, music, preparing for trips, travel hacks, growing up in Charleston, and his new fitness app, Gnarmaste, focusing on surf-centric wellness. Please enjoy.
MarshWear. Clothing inspired by the need for versatility and style. For those wave chasing, flats pulling, field loving, campfire gatherers. For the doers, adventurers, and unconventional. For those who live by the highs and lows of the tides. For those in pursuit of good times.
Thomas Brothers Productions. If you've been enjoying the podcast or the videos we've been making through it, it's an extension of our video production company that we've been creating for the past 15 years. So if you have a brand, company, or a product, we make high-end commercials, storytelling documentaries, and compelling product videos that help your brand grow or get your story out there. This episode is brought to you by Huriyali, serving nourishing treats for the mind, body, and soul. If you haven't heard the recent podcast, give it a listen. It's definitely our spot before or after a surf for a fresh juice, strong coffee, or fire breakfast burrito. And my new favorite is their healthy take on a banh mi. Huriyali Gardens, 401 Hugie Street, or their new location, Huriyali Riverland in James Island at 2016 Wapu Drive. So we have an icebreaker to just start us off. What is a better film, Point Break or Rocky IV?
You're coming out swinging right now. Okay. Point Break will always have my heart due to the fact that Swayze is irreplaceable. There's only one Patrick Swayze. I don't care if you try to remake Roadhouse or remake any of his other movies. Swayze, he wins for sure. Now, the training montage in Rocky IV is so dirty. It will eternally be the best training montage. I don't think it will ever be topped. But man, the combo of Point Break is just, it's top shelf in terms of action cinema and just like Hollywood surf.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, North Shore, Point Break, it's what really rivals those two movies.
It was Hollywood, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anything.
It's special.
But yeah, the montage is just how I imagine you starting your morning routine.
Oh, yeah. Much slower than that. Yeah, it's when you grow up in that era of like 80s cinema and everything's action. It's like Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme. It really is ingrained in you in a way that's like it's fun. Like movies are supposed to be fun. We all want more fun movies. And as a fan of athleticism, sports, and all that, it's just a part of you. And it does like give you a little extra oomph when you think about it in a funny way. It sounds silly, but it does make a difference when you hear the Rocky theme coming on in the gym. It just gives you that extra 10%. Like music has and film have the power to do that.
And then speaking of themes, the 96 Wave podcast theme song is none other than you.
You guys inspired me. You did. I was like, just the thought of it was fun, but then you said the magic words, double concave. Having lyrics to just be put on a platter right to you made a huge difference. And I just felt like I really wanted to help you guys because it's not that you needed it, but you're curating surf culture around here in a really special way. It's something that makes sense when I tell people about the podcast. It just immediately clicks. Who's doing the podcast? Oh, the Thomas Brothers. Yes, it sounds right. It sounds big. It sounds like perfect for this area.
Yeah.
So,
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
But
none other than someone that was at a 96 Wave Fest, which could you just tell us a little bit about the heyday of that?
How was that era?
It was really special. So my first festival that I went to was called the Free Fall Jam. It was before 96 Wave Fest actually fully formed. And then the next year, it turned into it. And this was the launch pad for Hootie and the Blowfish. And we were talking Cake, Cracker, all the dessert bands. And just a lot of really good regional acts that really gave Charleston a pop when it was a sleepy town. And that was really a unique take because other than like the jammer and a couple of, the farm was pumping, but that was really fun for Charleston to have a lot of bodies in a place vibing on music. And it had an impact on me for sure.
Yeah. Were you playing in bands at that time or?
Oh no, I was young.
Yeah.
I couldn't have been more than 11 or 12 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when Hootie, Cracked Rear View came out, I think 94. I was 12 years old.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I was tinkering on the guitar. I, played some Green Day tunes to start and then evolved musically. But it really started hitting more like towards the end of high school. And that's when music started to kick into super high gear, for sure.
Was Wavefest at Burtlebank
Yeah.
every year or?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a good lineup, for sure.
Yeah. So Brian said we imagine you starting your mornings rocky style. What time do you get up?
I get up at 6 a.m., our alarm goes off. I wish I could wake up naturally. That's the best way, but I need a little bit of oomph to get me going. And, it's the ritual of having everything prepared. Like preparation is the name of every game, right? So I have my smoothie made from the night before. I'll lay out my clothes. Like everything is just like get up, go. And when I get to the gym, I'll get a few clients that are just like, morning people that start chatting real fast. I'm like, all right, I got to get on their level. And so they inspire me to get going. And then I hit the deck with some massage, the rolls, the stretches, a little bit of warmth on the bike if I need it. And then it's just, it's go. I got to be on at 7 a.m. for that first group to just, inspire them and see what people need. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, the first time I really knew what you were doing in training was during COVID. Ellison was like, this guy's going on live Instagram, do it with me. And you were doing like, gyms were closed down. So you're training people, long hair.
Laundry detergent.
Yeah, pick up anything in the household. I was like, who is this guy? But it inspired me. You have inspired a lot of people to, get back into their fitness, a lot of surfers.
So how long have you been a full-time trainer?
Full-time trainer, it'll be 17 years this April.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
What kickstarted that?
So I think the origin of wellness in my mind, it dates back to the matriarch of our family. My Aunt Jenny passed away when I was 14. And it was a rift through our family, just like that never really recovered. And it was all in my eyes. I don't know how I realized it, but it felt preventable just from lifestyle. And so I just had maybe it was like a subconscious respect for the body and for going into the process of saying, this is my only sole possession, and I got to respect it. So I just started focusing more on eating clean, moving every day, and taking like micro steps, and trying to escape my youth of like party vibes and bad food. And I just kept getting a little bit better each year. And when I didn't have a real path, like I would say freshman year of college where I wasn't consistently with like athletics, anything organized, I said I needed a compass and I needed to pick a direction. What am I going to do? And my buddy Brian Funsick, he offered that. Next door, I was working at Charleston Water Sports at the time in Mount Pleasant. Right next door is Mount Pleasant Aerobics and Fitness. He works there. He's TJ's kid brother. Shout out to TJ Funsick out in Kauai. And he just extended a hand. He said, man, if you want to learn, let's go. And he's younger than me. He's like in the biz. He's like doing really well with sales for gym memberships. He's got it pretty dialed with the lifting. And I just showed up. I was like, I feel like I need to be here. I need to tighten up. I want to be better at surfing, and let's go. And he really led the way, and I can't thank him enough. He's like, he really was a savior to me. He's like still a really like tight friend to this day. So,
wow,
yeah,
that's cool hearing that because I've seen you have some people shadow you at the gym that could be. So you're kind of passing that along.
Yeah, and it just kept like that morphed into, hey, JP, I'm going to shadow you over at West Ashley Aerobics and Fitness. And he was kind enough to let me hang with him, stay on his hip, learn his ways, and a few other mentors along the way that were really generous. That makes the difference. Whether you're a personal trainer or a physical therapist, and you extend that hand, that changes a person's life. And it really had an impact on me.
Yeah. And so was surfing the main priority in those years? Like that was your sport?
It was always number one, whether I was training at the time to the best of like, to progress in that arena, that's questionable because we know so much more about fitness now. It's really exploded in the past 20 years. It's been pretty wild to see the transition of the classic athletic high school gym format morph into what it is today. And I'm really excited about the future too, just with the tech that's involved and the methods that people use for different styles of sports. Like there's ultimately a foundation, but it's fun to specialize a little bit. It's cool.
When you're training us, like our pocket of people, is there stuff you're doing for us with surfing, or is it kind of all go across the board with everyone you're kind of training?
Yeah, it's foundation is the number one focus of every session. So if I have a crew that I know has a similar ability level, I can provide a series of movements that are going to provide foundational wealth for movement. And so I have a couple of things in mind. I'm like, all right, when I'm setting up the circuit, Ellison's going to need this because, all right, his ham's maybe feeling a little weird today, or his hip needs a little bit more mobility. Maybe Bryant needs a little more overhead focus for a shoulder joint. I'm thinking about that and integrating that into the movements. So there's a tailored aspect that's similar for the client. And like the main thing is being client specific and not being like systematically dependent on just like, here's the stuff, do it. Like, yeah, I always have a plan, but it changes and it tweaks according to what your body's telling me. That's the most important thing. It's not about the system. It's about the client. For sure.
What was so you grew up in Charleston. What was your introduction to surfing around here? Or
man, it's I think in many ways we all kind of feel like, walking cliches, the way we're like inspired and like you get into surfing. But I saw The Endless Summer on television and it like blew my mind. And I was like, what is going on here? And then my mom was like, hey, your dad used to surf. Tell him about surfing. He's like, oh yeah, I used to surf back in the day with so-and-so. He may still have a board. And I just immediately felt like it just like rocketed to me. I want to do that. Let's go. And as soon as I figured out that my dad's friend had a board, it was a 6'9" Gordon Smith Hawk Curl, 1972. Wish I still had that board.
Yeah.
It would have been, to restore it would have been epic, but it's long gone. And I just remember paddling in first wave, remember it vividly. Just the weightlessness, like falling down the face, wiping out, and I knew I was immediately hooked. Green bottom, yellow deck, green rails, by the way.
Ooh, wow.
sick board.
That's awesome.
And total beater, but a lot of love there.
Yeah.
And so like locally, I grew up in West Ashley, went to Blessed Sacrament, Catholic school kid, altar boy, the whole nine. And the environment was like pretty sparse in terms of surf culture. Daniel Reagan was the only person I knew that surfed. We went to the same school. I think he's 2 years older than me. And, so I'm matriculating 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Nobody else is surfing. I'm like, all right, well, all my friends still skate around the neighborhood. Nobody's really like super into it. All of a sudden, my dad gets a job out in Georgetown. And we ship out to Dunes West and Mount Pleasant when it was the sticks. Like, nobody's around there. You live where in Dunes West? Like, I'm not coming to pick you up. Like, like figure it out, kid. And I met so many people that were into surfing over there. And because I wasn't a JI kid where there was just a wealth of shred and all that. So, first day, Wando High School, 9th grade. Walk in, it's like, all right, I got to make my way. Like, who am I going to meet? In recess, I meet Morgan Hurley, Gabe Cafaro, Graham Smith. The list goes on. Charlie Gus.
That's hilarious.
And then I start like meeting all these kids that are so committed on every level to skating and surfing. It like really defines them. And when you encounter that changes your world. You see what it's about. And so it was just all about trying to get to the beach, making that happen, eventually getting a car and just doing that as much as possible. But what really like cemented that relationship of like learning about surfing and having a mentor was Joe Hiller. And so I walk into Liquid Motion Surf Shop, I'm 14 years old, 15, and he just a warm greeting right off the bat. I've got like my birdhouse shirt on, and I'm still a skate kid. And he like really brought me over to the surf side as well, along with my friends. And he was just the most amazing dude. He would always like there's something that Joe used to do. Like I loved this. He was never at a distance. Like every time you saw him, like he would bring his hand up and he would like bring you closer like this. It was never like a handshake or like a dab. He would always like be there with you. He always address you, hey brother. He'd say that. And he taught me about boards, and he was like, this is a round-nosed fish. This is what this is for. If you want a squash tail, you can be doing this. And the education started flowing because of that, and not just watching surf videos and buying little like potato chips and hoping I could surf. And he loved music. He would always like turn me on to bands. He's like, hey, have you heard of the Black Crowes? He'd slide a CD over. He loved Hendrix. He was like just a really well-rounded dude. And what really like took it to the next level is he pulls out a photo of him on this gun in Tortola at Apple Bay. And it is firing. It's like double overhead, and he's just freight training down this wave.
Sick.
And it just felt possible that this guy like right in front of me can get on a plane and go somewhere and score epic waves. So instead of like centerfold on your wall, like Surfer Mag, and just pipe dreaming all day, like he made it tangible.
Yeah.
That was the conduit to like really experiencing surf travel and igniting that sense of adventure. And that was like, game over. Still doing it to this day. Like chasing that feeling of where am I going to go next? Mm-hmm. And but Joe passed away in 2006. He had brain cancer, and I would check in, and it was just the last time I saw him. He'd had the surgery, and the shop was like packing up, and I just remember, I knew I didn't have the words, but I just remember saying to him, like, thank you so much for everything. Like you've been like such an impact, player in my life, and I really didn't know what to say. I think I actually said that, and he just stopped me right there. He just said, he's like, this is bigger than me. Like what I'm going through right now, like the things that they're studying about him and his brain is going to impact people. He's going to help people. So that the darkest moment in his life, he had the wherewithal to just like step away and say like, I'm helping people.
Wow.
Like,
what a legend.
There's not many people you meet like that.
Yeah.
You could wallow in sadness. You could bury yourself head in the sand. He stood tall, and he was proud of it. And it was really special.
Wow. That's really cool.
Dude, I feel like you give that big and like warm embrace every time I see you. So I feel like his legacy is kind of lives on through you with that a little bit. Yeah.
He was special, man. CFC grad, by the way, CFC Surf Club, like honor him in any way you can. He's Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Special guy.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see that photo.
Yeah. Oh man, if I could unearth that photo, and I'd have to ask Big Hair if it was a orange or a red board, but it was just like a big banana gun.
Yeah.
Charging. Like
it's funny, like what we remember and this is such a memory or like can change us.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He's like, he was talking about, the different board designs. And I remember he had Keckley in there. Mm-hmm. And he's like, this is what Slater used to ride. And I was like, oh, that was cheap, but I'm listening.
Right.
Yeah, Slater used to ride Keckleys? No way. Oh,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. One love, Joe.
Man, that's really cool.
Mm. Yeah.
I went in that shop a few times though.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never surfed IOP, but if we did, I've stopped in there a few times.
Totally.
So yeah.
Yeah, those were the days of, gearing up there, and then in the early mornings, going over the rickety ass old bridge, where it was formerly a 2-lane tiny bridge, and then of course it was one way going downtown. And oh man, those mornings at like 6 a.m. driving over that bridge with Willie T and his Bronco 2, and that thing just like it was like a boat scooting side to side on that tiny bridge over that one, then all the way to Folly. Like those trips made it worth it. That was the mission, and we had some like epic times like scooting back and forth from Mount Pleasant to Folly doing that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That imagery is awesome.
Oh yeah, the Bronco 2.
Yeah,
and like just that when you put yourself in that time capsule back in the day, like you guys appreciate film more than anything, and the way it was digested back then was really special, just because you had to like get the video from McKevlin's, and then like if you were doing the trade thing with your friends, it was all there, but I could just watch them on repeat and learn a lot about surfers just, yes, but like culturally speaking, it was just so fun and different. You learn about bands back then, no streaming. So I was like, what? Who's Lagwagon? Okay. I listen to them now and like all these different like fun bands. And it was a good hang with those guys, just trading videos.
So after high school, you went to CFC?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, graduated in 2006.
Cool.
Yeah.
How's basketball going this year?
Solid, man. Pat Kelsey's like got the troops. He's like shuffling the lineup. Love my Cougs. I've been going to CFC basketball games since I was, I want to say 8 years old, 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I started summer camp, that's when I was going to games, and I've been going ever since. And I love that. Love basketball. That was my first love. Like athletically speaking, basketball like pulled me in.
Yeah.
That was special. Like growing up in the era, like the golden era of basketball at the tail end of Bird and Magic, that rivalry. And then transitioning it to watching Jordan, like, the sports world was just like on fire. And that was so inspiring because athleticism is something you appreciate as a trainer from all angles. I can look over any fence and see what they're doing, how they're training, and be inspired by it. And if I look at it, Bird, Magic, and then Jordan was everything. And then you start to see what Kelly's turning into. He was just such a beast. Like, he was so early and often amazing, and then it just started becoming like, what, this is the greatest surfer we've ever seen? Like, what's going on here? And then like what really like tipped the scales of surfing and fitness was like, I got to give it up to Taylor Knox. He's the OG. Jerry Lopez was like, he was doing yoga, he was meditating, and he was on another level for sure. And his ability to visualize as an athlete and to like make certain things possible. Mr. Pipeline, he's the man. But like from a training standpoint, really like making the body well-rounded, Taylor Knox is the guy. Like he had a hookup with, he knew the San Diego Padres strength coach. He would like go train with him when like nobody was training. And that level of sophistication like shows in his surfing. Like he's so incredibly efficient with his movements. Like if you notice like on his bottom turns, he doesn't like pump. He just goes to the bottom and he turns. Like he goes in and out of roundhouses. Watch his film. It's like, it's flawless.
Yeah.
It really is special. And you see that like with certain surfers where they're just buttoned up. Mechanically, they're so sound. Ethan Ewing is a bad dude. He is a bad dude. Like his center of gravity is money. He's so connected to his surfboard. He does the most athletic movements in the tightest spots. Like he's a joy to watch. Like as a trainer, you can see it.
And he's gotten like 2 times as big. He looks legit.
He is such a ripper.
Have you dived into any of his program to see what he's been doing, or do you probably know?
I haven't found a whole lot on him.
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of digging. Some surfers are just like more overt with it about their preparation. Maybe he's like holding a few things like close to the chest. I think Leo Fioravante is like an incredible guy. Like his mindset, his training, his methods are really solid. You can tell he's training the right way. He's got a really nice like approach to mobility and strength, conditioning, power. You can see that. And he like shares some stuff on the gram, and he's good about that.
What do you see, like when you mention those surfers, what do you see that you can tell, or like what are you looking for?
It's so whenever there's like a disconnect with surfing, outside of like reading waves and just having water knowledge, what you see is there's a connection between like the upper and lower chain kinetically. So like the connection between like his rib cage and his hips is like perfect. There's alignment. There's a tension to it where everything just like kind of moves around his body, and he never looks like he's flailing. That's what you see. You see like there's finesse, the way he punctuates his turns, the way he pushes into them, and he finishes movements. You can see that he has the mobility to do it, and he has the strength to do it, and he's explosive. Like he can like fly off the bottom. He can smash the top. And it just generally looks like there's an economy of movement to it. Like when you see guys that aren't really like showing flow and maintaining speed, you can see that they're either like standing too tall, or like maybe their arms are just like super wide, and like they're not like compact, and it's the eyeball test really at the end of the day. But I can see things mechanically that maybe some others can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. So, like you said earlier, in 20 years, fitness has become like in surfing night and day.
Oh yeah.
Do you think training can help someone's pure ability in surfing, or just it is mainly the endurance?
This is it's so talked about in the world of athleticism. It's a hot topic. It's like at the end of the day, like athletes are born, they're not made. Like, to be perfectly honest, like I can train like to all the programs that I've built and others, like to perfection. There's no way I'm gonna get remotely close to what Kyle Busey does in the water. Like he's just like the dude's like a machine. But I can increase my ability to increase my endurance, my conditioning, all those things. But I think the beauty of that is that I do what I do because I don't have those gifts. Like, I have athletic gifts, I do, but not in all the areas that I would like. Like when I was 16, I was diagnosed with asthma, and I've just learned to manage that. I have short arms, I have small hands. Like, naturally, I'm just not very strong. Did you ever do the pull-up test in high school? They're like, hey, grab that bar and do it. Like, I can do a pull-up. Like, I was not a specimen, so I had to fight for every inch of it. Like, not having the gas, like, in the tank, with my lungs and not being super strong. It's very discouraging, but that's when you love something. You love surfing. You'll go to war for it. Like, I'll do every rep, every workout, prepare maniacally. And that's the difference. And that's the beauty of it. It's the process. It's like, even if I don't reach the end goal in being like elite as a surfer, which, is like unlikely, but, I don't personally know what my ceiling is, but that is awesome. Like, I want to take it beyond, what I think is possible. So, like, why put a limit on yourself?
Wow. Yeah. Obviously, what you said earlier of you have one body, that should be the number one reason to train and stay fit. But a big reason I see you in the gym is when the waves are pumping, I'm going on a trip. I want to be ready.
No doubt.
I feel like people want to hear those. What are those things they should be doing, preparing for a big trip?
Yeah. And if someone's not training, is there a start to like you should focus on legs or upper body, or is it just like?
Yeah, I don't train in body parts normally. I train in functional patterns. So there are certain movements that you have to have in your toolbox, simple but effective. If you're able to squat, hinge, push, pull, balance, and carry some weight, you're going to be successful. And I call it Mexican food training. It's the same ingredients arranged in different ways, delicious always. But you should be familiar with those basic patterns and then elaborate to a certain degree. And time and consistency is everything. I mean, like, starting training plenty of time away from the trip. If you have a minimum of 3 months, that'd be nice. To really get familiar with certain patterns, or just reconnect with them if you've already trained. And then find a groove where you say, all right, I'm going to get stable, I'm going to get strong, and I'm going to get powerful. If you can do that over the course of 3 months, you're going to be in good hands. That's good. And in terms of preparation, it's even if you can't be at the gym with me all the time, be on my hip, whatever you can do daily to do something just to march towards that goal is like the most important. Consistency is king. You gotta be leaning on that. And organizing how you train weekly, that would get us in the weeds on this podcast. But I do have solutions for that, of course, because I'm coming out with an app. So
yes, exactly. Because then that's the other thing. When you're on a surf trip, then you're not working typically, so there's things you should focus on while you're not just surfing.
Right.
Which is also when we were in the thick of our training, I remember the first morning we were somewhere, we stretched and did our little program that you had us locked in on, and I was like, it goes beyond just the gym time. It actually becomes a part, adapted into your lifestyle, which is
agreed,
which is cool. So,
yes.
Yeah.
If you've been flossing forever and you just stop flossing, it would annoy the hell out of you. Like, it becomes a part of you. You have to do it because you know how much better you feel. And I have that ritual, like, for certain people I'll say, all right, I need to get light bulb moments for certain people. So when I assign movements for somebody, it lights them up when they do something. They go, ooh, like, I need more of that. Can you show me a little bit more? And that becomes this new avenue of education where they see that there's a daily application for it. Wow, if I'm seated too long, I can get up and do this stretch, and then I can, maybe incorporate this. And I like seeing those moments in the gym, where just little things make a huge difference, for sure.
Yeah.
What is that for people who sit in a chair all day? Is there anything that you have that's like that one little trick?
Yeah, if you set a timer, magic number would be like anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to get up out of your chair. Like, the very basic stuff that you can do is like, it sounds funny, but I like doing hula hoops. Like, if I'm not actually hula hooping, but if you just like stand up, hands on the hips, you know what I mean? And just like literally go into some hula hoops to give your hip joint a break and to just rotate around the head of your femur and just exaggerate that. That makes a difference. I love doing those inchworms. You know, that's my favorite. It's like the greatest stretch in the world is just doing inchworms into that little lizard variation. And we can incorporate that for the film. You know?
Yeah, that's going to be a
But,
great piece of content.
But I really do, I need that consistent movement if I'm seated too long. It's two things. Like, I got this like long, like brontosaurus neck that in my head. So like if I'm like too keyed in, I'll have to like, relax the shoulders, get up, and I need to rotate a little bit as well. So I'll do like a couple of those windmills. I'll do some more like side-lying rotations on the floor. I generally just like getting on the floor, rolling around a bit, doing some child poses. Whatever keeps things fresh, can't go stale.
Yeah. So we really should have done this podcast standing on a walk or something.
Yeah. Like some like yoga mats on the floor. That's
Yeah.
the new format.
Yeah. So I would say in the gym and now on your app, you have the best names. You come up with the most creative names for workouts or little tricks. I don't know. What do you call them?
It's really just an offshoot of like surf speak. And I have so many friends that have like hilarious vernacular. I just I'm inspired by them. Like, shout out to Philip Antman. He's like pretty much like king of surf speak. He's solid. And when I was coming up with a certain category of workouts, I call them shred snacks. And I just had a group of clients in the gym, and I just said, hey, I need some fun little like culinary inspirational names for these, and let's come up with a few. And so if anybody has any suggestions, keep them coming. But we got like, the Narbacoa, the Narcho Libre. What else is on there? Taco Tubes Day.
Yeah. So, well, for everyone listening, the app and what you've created is Gnarmaste.
Yeah. So Gnarmaste is surf-centric wellness, and it's essentially a hub for everything I'm doing to prepare surfers for trips, to just enjoy total wellness. There's mobility stuff on there. There's strength rebuild. There's in-between swell workouts. It's just a cornucopia of everything I program.
Yeah, the names. Did you already say Narbacoa?
Yeah,
Narbacoa.
It's like my favorite.
There's one more I'm not thinking of. What is it?
The hot dog pig.
Yeah, hot pig dog. The hot pig dog.
Yeah, hot pig dog. Sorry.
Yes.
I went backwards on that. Yeah, Taco Tuesday is incredible. So, I mean, you've been working on this for a long time now.
Yeah.
Was this kind of always the dream?
Yeah, and when you decided to do this platform, was it always that you were going to make it surf centric, or was that something that? Yeah,
totally. And I was getting poked like from the beginning about no, don't do the surf thing. Make it more, cast a wider net. Do something that's just like fitness, and maybe you can sneak in some surfing. And I was like, nah, dude. Like, I'm a very passion driven person. I make very few decisions financially like that would impact. It's like I need the carrot to be surfing or something that I really love and I'm passionate about. So I immediately said, yes, it's got to be surf oriented. And if I can create something that's like, as simple as shred snacks and quick workouts, or to elaborate for people that want to be really thorough and like test the ceiling of their athleticism, I needed to be all in one format. That was really the goal. And that was really a battle. You know, some people were just saying like, nah, like just do a little course and keep it brief, and then you can just sell courses individually. No, I wanted an app. It just sounded right. And Gnarmaste is the hub for that.
Yeah. Was that name always, was that always the name or?
Yeah, it started as a joke. I had a friend out on the West Coast, and her brother, he started doing a yoga program for like dirt bike guys, like, you know, not like freestyle dirt bike, not like enduro stuff like Angelo, but like motocross, like freestyle. And I was like, wow, it's like the contrast of like gnarly dudes like that and putting them in like, yeah, it's like, you know, football players doing yoga. There's something about that, like the gnar of that, and they're doing yoga, Gnarmaste, and it just kind of like word vomited out of me. I just took a note mentally. I put it in a little Apple note actually on my phone. And I just said, that's the name. I got to have that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the Gnarmaste podcast to come out.
Shredthenarmaste.com.
Yeah. But so we've been able to use it for a little while now. There's different programs all in here: surf recovery, pre-surf prep, Stoke Ed.
Thanks, Italo.
Yeah. Between swells. So, yeah.
You kind of have it all covered.
Yeah.
Did you have to put a lot of thought into that?
I did, because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of programming, a lot of time. But really, it's just like how we know how to approach like our surfing pre and post, but like getting into the weeds of getting into the weeds of strength. You got to be like patient and you got to be thorough at the same time. I can't like be pouring on like heavy lifting. I need to like really onboard people and like show them that there's some like patience. There's patience and education in the process of learning about strength training, mobility, and power moves, because that's really what you're investing in. It's not just like, hey, do some squats and, you know, do some warriors and then you're done. No, like I want this to really, really change people and make them stronger and do all the right things. So like, you know, I wanted to be thorough, and that is the way to do it, you know?
Yeah. And so the biggest thing is time, your time and people's time.
Totally.
You get hit up a lot, you know, people but you can only take on so much.
Right.
And then everyone doesn't have the flexibility to go in somewhere. So this was the big solution.
Right. Yeah. Financially speaking, it's the best way to access more people. And I want to share the knowledge. I want to share the love. I want to make sure that people really know what I do. Like that's like, you know, those memes where it says like what my friends think I do, what I actually do. I need to make one of those. I'll do that. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to make people like mobile, which is, you know, like really like flexibility plus strength equals mobility. I want to make them strong. I want to make them powerful. Like power is speed plus strength. You know, we need to have that in our arsenal. And I want people to be conditioned, and I want them to have purpose. You know, if you do all of those things, you know, you're going to be an elite specimen. You'll realize your ceiling athletically, because that's really what this is all about. It's like floor and ceiling is the measurement for everything. Like raise your floor, raise your ceiling. Everybody's a little different, but when you realize it, it's truly exciting.
How much how much correlation do you put into the food aspect?
A lot. I like talking about diet is so funny because diet. I'll say nutrition is a really interesting conversation because there's so many different approaches. And all I can say is that regardless of what you're into, just play the quality game. If you play the quality game with every nutrient, you're going to be successful and arrange it in a somewhat balanced format. So like, you know, if you're drinking plastic bottled water all the time, you know, it's your number one nutrient. How about don't do that and just try to drink spring water as often as you can? And like, you know, if, you know, the air you breathe must be clean. You know what I mean? The carbohydrates that you eat are high quality, the protein, the fat, you know, your fiber intake, it's all got to be quality. The best avenue for food is local. You know, the local CSA, I'm on the CSG, the Low Country Street Grocer, and they deliver a box of food to my house every Wednesday. It's grown locally. It's super high quality. I love the access to local farms that we have here for really high quality, you know, the cattling, the vegetable, just everything that we have locally is really special in Charleston, and it reflects from a culinary standpoint.
Yeah, that's
You know,
huge.
this is a culinary town, and we have really good ingredients. So you got to tap that vein. If you're just living on dead food from a supermarket, it's going to show. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to be as nourishing. So I really just encourage everybody to support your local farmer, to get on their CSA, and spend just like a little bit more money, because it will pay you back in spades for sure.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's hitting me right now. I'm like, gotta get on that. How do you want to see people use it the most? Like, what's your vision for that?
But we get you a Stokehead.
That was most peak Stokehead.
Yeah.
My vision is like I like the narrative of the like swells come in and then they dissipate. No, the swells, like we've all had those sessions where you weren't ready, and that feeling is the pits. Like you've taken surf trips and you haven't been ready, right? And it's daunting. Like when you feel that, you never want to feel that again. So like in between swells, just like get on that app and stay ready.
That was it. That was the
Yeah.
That really
I feel like
is it.
horrible right now.
I'll just to like what really changed the game for me was when I got sick a few years back and I had this complication with an autoimmune disease, and I'm all better now. But when I was like rebuilding my body, I had an opportunity right away. Mexico's coming up. We're going to the points. Be ready. It was our buddy Gabe's bachelor party. And I said, this is it. This is my first surf trip back from this ailment that I have. I got to like give it my all. And I trained my ass off, like to the T, to the rep. And I really hit like a 3 to 4 month stretch where I felt that I was really stumbling onto programming being where I wanted it to. I was like, ooh, this is starting to feel right. And I get there and I surfed really well. I didn't have a ton of confidence like prior to it, but I knew that I was ready. I just had to show it in the water. And I get out there and I'm paddling for hours on end. I feel good with my pops. I feel like I was connecting well with my board. And it just like raised my level of confidence to like a new way, like super high level. And these weren't like waves of consequence per se, where I was like testing my tube riding skills every day, all day. But there were so many moments where I like proved it to myself, like what I'm doing is the right path. And it got me back on track. And when it's midday, people are tired, and I get to Punta Conejo, Salina Cruz, and I'm like, all right, session number 2, we've already logged 3 hours in the water. Session number 2 is about to be on too. Let's go get it. I'm ready. Slam some coconut waters, paddling out. This guy goes bottom turn, top turn. It like struck me like a bolt of lightning. I was like, that's Tom Curran. I knew right away. That's how Tom Curran surfs. He had this like head wrap on, his raggedy board, but I just knew. And he kicked out of the wave. I was like, holy shit. Like, keep paddling. Next guy catches a wave. Taylor knocks.
That was sick.
Like, you gotta be kidding me. He like paddles back out. And I said hi to Taylor. It's like, hey, I'm a trainer. I really respect your process. It's been super inspiring. So thanks for that. He's like, oh, great. Good to hear that. And I catch a wave, get a like nice little backhand schwack right in front of him. He gives me a yip, and I could have died. Like that was it. It was like that's like still one of the greatest days of my life, and that it was all because I had the endurance to keep going. Like, if I would have just like logged a few hours in the morning and like taken the rest of the day off, I wouldn't have experienced that. So the preparation got me to that moment, which was like a seminal moment in my surfing experience.
That's really cool.
It was insane.
That is the thing, is like you go on a trip, you're really just you're on a paddle trip, and then you catch some waves.
Yep.
So, but you really can take that and be able to last way longer than the other guys on the trip if you put the work into it.
Yeah, and there is a patience where you can't bite off too much. Like right when you're getting in the water, you got to pace yourself to a certain degree. But there's a certain point in every trip, you felt this, where your body hits idle. Like the engine is just staying at that flat kind of like 1,000 RPMs, and your paddle just becomes like a part of you. It's like your body accepts it. You're just going like, I'm a machine. Like, I'm just going to keep going. Let's go. Let's see how long this lasts. And when you hit that stride, it's really nice. It's like, it's like you need that. And in contrast, like, because we spend all of our time paddling, you need the power to be able to just get in when you're tired, like constant. just paddle back out. Yes, you have the endurance to do so, but do you have the power to catch the critical waves at the critical moments, like deep into the session? That maintaining that's really hard. So I practice that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which snack would that? Do I need to go in the app for
Yeah.
that?
I believe the subtext on one of those workouts is ceremoniously gorge on paddle snacks. Which one is it? You can tell me.
Oh, okay. That's amazing.
Yes.
I will say that whenever I surf with you, I never, like if you're going for a wave, I just know you're going to catch it.
It doesn't always happen. It's like whenever I'm either feeling a little bit funny or if I've like overtrained, like I'll notice it in the water, and I'm conscious of that. Like I know that like when I'm around certain people, they're like, all right, oh yeah, he's like got to set the tone here, right? And then but no, it's like I know that I've bitten off more than I can chew. I'm not sleeping well. Maybe I didn't eat enough. Oh, I didn't drink enough water. There's so many things that affect me because I'm not always on. You know, I train my ass off because I don't have the natural gifts. So like I gotta like find the ratio of hustle that works for me. It's the same with everybody.
So speaking of travel, we did a poll recently of, is surfing an expensive sport?
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people wrote in, 70% said yes.
Sure.
I mean, anything, it really leans into if you travel to get waves, then yeah, it all adds up.
Yes. But
you're a man of many travels. You've traveled quite a bit. I feel like the travel hacks, there's some moments, not only in fitness, but just how to make this, how to go get waves.
Oh yeah, I would say the biggest dent originally was I got a subscription to Scott's Cheap Flights. I paid, originally it was like $35 a year, and they'd send you flight alerts, and they go quick. So like it's done via Google Flights. So they send you the alert, you get the email every single day, and they would just pop in, and I would tell Jessica, hey, like when this stuff pops up, you got to be ready to pull the trigger, because I started noticing that the flights would be gone 6 hours, or maybe they would hang around for 2 days. And so I just told her, be ready. And then a flight to Australia pops up. I check it at 10 a.m. I text her. The flights are, purchased by noon.
Oh, wow.
It's like, you got to be just ready to have a window in your mind. Just like put it there with flexible dates, look at the flight alert and just be ready to pull the trigger, be prepared. And like, that doesn't work with strike missions as well.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to plan way out, it works extremely well. I've gotten tickets at half price at all types of locations: Spain, Portugal, Australia, New Zealand, and it's worked out tremendously.
Oh, sweet.
And coupling that with air travel, points on points on points. On the Chase Sapphire Preferred card, Matt Hall turned me on to that, and the perks are tremendous. You get 5-time point value on travel purchases, and also when you waive the third-party insurance on your rental car, the credit card just takes care of that huge chunk of insurance that you'd be paying, for that daily rate.
Yeah.
That's a major dent, especially in Costa Rica where you're beating the hell out of vehicles but different rental car companies will allow certain things. So that's just doing your homework.
Yeah.
And I would say,
Yeah, those are huge.
Yeah.
We had some people write in, like Willie T, long stints, underdeveloped countries, eating's the big one. Willing to pack a bunch of people into a room. These feel like young 20 trip things.
Yeah.
But looking back, those were like the best. Like staying in a hostel, I have the best memories on surf trips and like the funnest times.
There's so much value to that.
And then Morgan Hurley with the cutting out alcohol on a trip.
Oh yeah, that's a big one for sure, and which is always a hot topic. I drink only on like very special occasions. It's like I have to play the game of inches, and all because I know I'll just be that much better for it. Because like that's those minute gains are really valuable to me. But you know that if you're just like pounding beers the whole trip, you're not going to surf to your true ability.
Yeah.
So like have a couple, but you know what you're signing up for if you're drinking, and you'll save a lot of money if you don't.
Yeah, the bar tab at the end too. But
Oh yeah. So like the simple one is like, aside from just setting the flight alerts, or if you have a subscription service, make sure your dates are flexible when you set those, and that that can make or break it. Because if you just have like rigid dates for a window that you want to put on the flight alert, you're not going to get them. So like make sure your dates are flexible when you set the flight alert.
Yeah.
Huge.
I mean, already a huge saving is the right airlines, the boards are either free or way less expensive.
Used to be $150 each way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like a good airline.
But like as soon as Bryant and I graduated high school, that's when they flipped it. Like I was paying $200 each way and stuff. That like smokes you as a young kid.
Yeah. That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we paid so much. And I remember hearing horror stories about guys getting board counted. It never happened to me, but
I have.
opening coffins, 1, 2, 3, whatever it was,
Yeah.
just cha-ching.
2, 4, 6. Yeah.
That's you can't do that.
That's extortion.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that actually happened. But just a couple of hacks. My favorite fitness travel hack is the Peanut, dude. This thing goes with me everywhere. It's just a compact, high-density foam roller in peanut shape. And, I'm just doing self-massage technique all over with it. It fits in the board bag. Protects the rails, right? It's just like sitting right there. And it's just been one of the best handy hacks that you can come across for sure.
Yeah, that one looks like you can actually travel with it.
Yes, and I can provide a link for this. And I'm not even like affiliated with this company Rolga, but they make really good rollers. And this peanut is like the perfect density. So
Sweet.
I like that a lot. And things that have like legitimately saved my trips. Ear care is a big one. And so 2 things. Making sure like the eardrops get in to break up the earwax and all the debris in your ears, and then getting an alcohol-based eardrop that actually dries it out. So get the wax out and then dry it out so everything can heal up properly. I've heard too many horror stories at this point about, ears being impacted in some way and just ruining the trip, messes up your balance, your equilibrium, trips over. So like you're gonna spend a lot of time in the doctor's office in a weird country, no bueno.
Yeah, I mean, we just went to Florida and I was headbanging, getting water out the whole session. I just knew I looked ridiculous.
Combo the drops. If you're breaking up the earwax, do the earwax solution first, and then you do the hand pump to the ear. In the manual hand pump, you can feel it. Actually, it will suck the wax out, provided that it's broken up. And then once you've gotten all the gunk out of your ear, do the alcohol-based, cha-ching. You can keep going.
Man.
That's like
I'm learning some real stuff.
It saved my trip when I was in the Maldives.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, wow, I was so close to being screwed on a boat trip.
Oh,
which would have been,
man.
It would have been the worst. Oh,
jeez.
One thing when I'm packing, or you'll be like, have you packed for a trip? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm good to go. And you're like, what, electric lights or anything like that?
Yeah.
Are you? And I'm like, oh yeah, I got to go to Earth Fair or something. I like totally forget. What are you putting in your bag for that?
Yeah, I like those Element, the electrolyte packs or like the little tubs. Relight makes a good one as well. But the electrolytes will definitely boost your endurance and just hydrate a ton. Like I'll do like a whole 20 ounces of water with electrolytes pre-serve. Eat just a ton of fruit and a little bit of coconut fat, and I'm usually good. It's like that'll really sustain me for a long time. And the other hack, rash. So like, I just, I generally wear a rash guard to protect, just from the sun. And if I don't have enough reps, like just like on my belly to like build up the callus and do all that, diaper rash cream. It works better than the belly jelly stuff. I think the name of the company is like True or something. I'll have to look it up, but anyway, like have like the rash cream if you're not getting enough belly time. Cause if it's winter time, you've been in a wetsuit all winter, you go to some tropical location, you get shredded on the belly. Like have the cream ready to go. Like that saves me. I just have super sensitive skin, no matter what type of wax that I use. That's been a travel hack for me.
Another thing that you introduced me to was ice baths.
Yes.
And man, have they exploded.
Exploded.
I mean, I was late to the train, but it is like, that's all I'm getting ads now.
Oh yeah.
And, we're in just the horse trough in your backyard, but really I learned that we're learning how to breathe properly during those moments, and that was huge. Is this a big fad, or is there real benefits?
It's been in place for who knows how long. Cold exposure, extreme temp exposure in general has been super valuable, like throughout time. Like there's like old school huts, sweat lodges that have been lauded for health reasons. Russian tundra, people dipping into these like little like fishing holes just to expose their bodies because they knew it made them hardy for sure. The worst thing you can do for your body is be in 72 degrees and fluorescent and just do that all day, not test your body. If you're to really highlight the benefits of ice bathing, beyond it being like looking cool on Instagram, it is making you manage stress in a really unique way. It mobilizes your immune system and teaches you how to breathe and just manage stressful situations. That's really like the best of it. If you're just so comfortable all the time, your immune system's going to be trash. But if you like get really cold or get really hot, you're mobilizing the troops in your body. Your immune system, your gut, all the mobile white blood cells in your body are just going like, yo, what's going on? Like we need to do something. And they're just, you got soldiers on deck. You're ready to fight off some things. And like you said, it is the best breathing coach that there is because if you're almost visualizing like you're about to get worked on a wave, you want to stay calm. The cold does that for you.
Yeah.
You can't fake it. Like, you'll hyperventilate if you try to just take shallow breaths and raise your shoulders and get all shruggy. But no, it has been really valuable. Outside of that, it's definitely lauded for reducing inflammation. It is a great fat burner, and I think it just really is mental acuity as well.
Yeah.
Because I'll do the cold shower more than the ice bath. When I take the cold shower, I'm like focused. It's just like everything just feels like I'm a little bit sharper.
If you're doing in the shower, how long do you try to go for at a time?
I'm not really timing it a whole lot. I just kind of like make sure I'm breathing really thoroughly. And especially during the winter, I'll like trick for the entry into the ice baths is that get in, make it lukewarm, take 3 breaths, colder, 3, colder, 3, colder until you get rock bottom. That's the trick. You'll get a little bit better at it each time, but make sure you take really solid, like 3 breaths and then move on.
Very cool.
What are some things you're living by right now? What's like if we were to ask Ryan his 3 top mottos or things to live by, what's kind of been your what have you discovered at this point?
I would say, oh man, top 3. If I'm distilling that conversation, geez. What really sets the tone for me is just like establish your circadian rhythm. Like if I'm really being objective, establishing a circadian rhythm means that I moved sufficiently throughout the day. I got 20 to 30 minutes of sunlight, and I got, some really solid deep sleep, inching closer to like 8 hours. That really like describes the perfect day in terms of my wellness and my practice. Outside of that, of course, purpose being right there. Just saying that I'm going to go to work every day and help somebody. I'm going to make sure that I'm paying attention and really connecting with people. In our age of technology, when things just pass us by, bandwidth is limited. I have a really unique privilege to connect with people multiple times a week. Sometimes I connect and have more chat time with people than their spouses because like they're wrangling kids and like, trying to get dinner ready and like, juggling in some capacity. But I like legit get to talk with people and have like really good moments with them throughout their week, which is rare when things are just getting done and there's a checklist and then, so I really thrive on that.
Yeah.
I think that's really special. So yeah, connecting with people and creating purpose and really like finding out the ceiling of surf and all the while keeping my wife happy, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, if you golf and surf, you're screwed. Just like pick a lane.
That's a good one.
But really, no. Like that, my wife is my North Star. So like, she can really inspire me at any moment, and I will always find moments to get points. So like, it's
One question earlier is, if you could work with any surfer, who would you want to work with?
Ooh, that's a great question. Oh, wow. Currently on tour or just anyone in general?
Let's just say on tour right now.
Wow. When I think about who has...
who could you see succeed if they were to... Or keep going. Sorry.
It's really about like who would be the most fun to work with. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. And like I could see the ceiling getting even higher. Oh, wow. I think it would be really fun to work with Idolo.
Yeah.
because he's such like a grin happy guy. He likes training, and it would just of course he has a trainer and like he does all that. I think he's just like a really fun, like gregarious dude.
Yep.
It'd be fun to hang out with him for
Cool.
sure. He'd be my pick for current world tour surfers.
Yeah, what about off tour? I felt like did you have somebody?
Yeah. It's like, if I, man,
Like
I'd
Aki or
love
something.
to hang out with Bryce Young.
Oh yeah.
Man, that film that he made was just like stunning. It really was. Like, that was a big impact film. I feel like that one had every bit as much, like, it had as much power as like Torrin Martin's stuff and Need Essentials and that crew. I really would like to work with Bryce, and I mean that would be really cool.
He seems like one of those freak athletes.
Totally.
That,
Yes.
Like the way he skates and stuff. Like,
Perfectly put.
Yeah.
Like to be a good athlete, you need talent, you need dedication, and you need it. Like talent, or that's just a skill set. Like dedication is showing up to work every day, but like it is like alchemy. It's magic. Like that's like sprinkled on them from somewhere else that you can't describe. And yeah, he has it.
That would be cool. That film is called Following the Fall Line.
That's right.
If anyone hasn't seen that,
Yeah.
that would be sweet.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get him and Italo together.
That'd be epic.
combo. Where are your go-to food spots around here that you like endorse or back?
Man, Huriyali's number one.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a closed loop, Tom's running a sustainable business that is environmentally conscious. It's full of flavor. He is creating a really cool community all the while. He has an eternal flame of stoke and like,
Yeah.
and it shows. And I just really, really like what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is Gnarmaste out for the people?
It is. The app is ready, and shredthenarmaste.com is where you're going to find all the info there. And yeah, I'm ready to help. I'm ready to get you ready for a trip, and in between swells, be ready to roll.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And if you're watching right now, this merch line
Merch
is
line's-
incredible.
You're coming out
You're coming out strong.
coming out steaming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Blake.
Yeah, Blake Suarez. He's the man. He's really made this come to life. I just give him surf speak, shred talk, and then he turns it into something amazing. His ability to work with animation and to have like an organic finish to it is really special on his part. He's good.
That's great.
Or what if when someone gets the app, what are they gonna come to find?
The first tab that they're going to see is Stoke Ed. So when you go to the programs at the bottom, there's featured videos on the homepage, and it's tailored to your ability level and your goals. But when you hit the program tab at the bottom, it'll just have everything listed categorically speaking. So Stoke Ed, I really think sets the tone because you are learning a language of movement. That's the most important thing, is exercising patience and knowing that you can do something every day with this app. So be patient, slow progress, and it'll win the day for you, for sure.
And they can go on the App Store. It's just all right there.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
iOS and Android, ready to go.
Cool. Sweet.
Yeah.
I would just say that if there are any local charities, surf-centric, that are just looking to put together fundraisers and just like help people out, like my help, sure, Gnarmaste is an excellent opportunity to help the people, but I love playing music. So like all my friends, like I have a ton of musician friends that are willing to step up, play some tunes, and help people out and raise some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who do you mainly play with?
Well, I'll play with the dub plates. I'll play with like PK and Frock and Phil Antman, and we have a little outfit called Pick and Roll. And Andy Masker is a wizard. That guy, the Andy Masker band, is like your main party band. Incredible musician and cast of musicians, and those are usually my guys.
Yeah. And you're playing guitar at those.
Playing guitar and singing, and just generally, axing where I can. Just wherever I fit in, I get in. That's it, man. Yeah.
Oh, man. No, I mean, y'all play in front of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had some fun gigs over the years, and I want to just shift that towards more of a philanthropic focus.
Cool.
It's you think about being a rock star in your 20s, you try to make a little bit of money off it in your 30s, and now you're just trying to give back to the people.
Yeah. unless you want to do it live, the 96 Wave theme song is probably about to start fading in right here.
Yeah.
Nice.
This has been awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom of, so many years and your dedication to it. I'm excited to stand up from these chairs and
Do some hula
get
hoops.
into start with that and the Gnarmaste app.
Let's do some mobility work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Most welcome. Thank you so much.
Awesome.